Brad Fox, Association of Financial Advisors, Chief Executive Officer. Once I decided to take on the CEO role, I naturally started doing some research on transitions and what works and what doesn't. Some research from the Harvard Business School indicated that more than half of senior management transitions fail. I wanted to be very sure that we weren't going to have that situation with the AFA, and the early days of the transition have been fantastic. It's pretty rare in this day and age that when a senior manager leaves an organisation that they stay around for a transition period. We've had the luxury of doing that with Richard, and the transition's gone very smoothly, both across our corporate partners and across our programs, and our people, our staff. One of the things that's key in the transition, from my point of view, is making sure that we retain the culture, which is very strong in the AFA, and my role is to bring to that components that are particular to me and add to it rather than take away anything that's in there, and that's the journey we're on. Over the last couple of years, the AFA has done quite a lot of research into the consumer space. In particular, what are their behaviours, how are they changing in terms of advice and what they expect from advice. We know the participation rate's too low. We know that the satisfaction rate's not where it should be in some cases as well. So there's trust issues, there's several issues there. What we'd like to do over the course of 2013, and this ties into our overarching theme of the year, which we've called New Frontiers, the Age of Consumers, is to grasp these changes in consumer behaviour, take the research that we've done and turn it into practical how-to guides for our advisors and our licensees as well, so that we're actually delivering far stronger to what the consumer's expecting. The flip side of that is taking the opportunity to communicate to consumers in an AFA to consumer message, and that's about getting to consumers a better understanding of what advice is, what the value of it is, what's a reasonable expectation to have from an advice relationship. And there's several aspects to it, but it's what we've seen in the past has been most of the communication to consumers in the media space has been about transacting. It's the wrong starting point. That needs to be an ending point. So we want to take a journey that says, let's entertain and engage consumers first, educate second, and then invite them to transact with us as a final stage. It won't be a fast journey, it'll be a longer journey, but it's a key step if we're going to bridge the gap between what consumers currently expect and experience and us doing a far better job of engaging them and giving them the service, the results that they need from an advice relationship. Other key things for the AFA during 2013 is the codes piece. There's the whole implementation of FOFA. We've got new projects on the go, and of course we've got our key event program with the GenX Roadshow in February, the July Roadshow, and our national conference, which last year had over 800 attendees. So those core links to the marketplace will stay in place, but there's new initiatives which we'll announce in March and April that should be exciting for the market as well. The debate around codes has become a little muddled. It seems to be centring on opt-in or obviating the need for opt-in. Codes need to be a whole different aspect than just that. When codes were first developed, they were never intended to be the law. They were about helping your membership or your constituents take the environment and behave appropriately within that law to achieve a higher level of result or professionalism. But the codes itself were never intended to be law. So we have this situation at the moment where that's almost being turned around, and I'm not sure that that's the appropriate way to handle this discussion. From the AFA's point of view, there's a lot for us to think about when we're getting to codes, and just recently we've had 30 licensees get together with Peter Kell from ASIC, and we've worked through the issues of codes and where they should land, and including in that, where does opt-in obviation live in that space? Is it part of a code? Does it sit as a separate, smaller, clearly defined narrow code? Or is it really not worth having the code and we should just have opt-in as business practice? So there's multiple aspects to this debate. We're pretty close to our landing point. What we want it to be though, and this I guess ties to where the AFA sits around what belongs in a code and what doesn't. We've just had the toughest review of financial services law for over 20 years. And if you're advising and you're compliant to the law, I would say you're operating professionally, because the law is that stringent. So go the next step. In any profession, there will always be those that are striving to be a standout above the norm. And that's fantastic. It's fantastic to see that competitive nature that leads to higher and higher levels of performance, generally on a wide base. So whilst we see professionalism as something we all aspire to, if you're meeting the law, you're there. Could you aspire higher? Absolutely. And the AFA, we've already got hundreds of members that sit well above that minimum requirement. You've only got to look at our awards nominees, our awards finalists over the last number of years, and you'll see there's countless examples. So the AFA will continue to encourage advisors to go above base level, to become one of the standout professionals, become a leading practice if you want to use that terminology, but it's a carrot approach. It's how-to guides, how to be better than the base minimum of the law, how do we get to this higher level, but do it in a time frame that the resources of your business and your own personal resources allow. It's a longer journey, won't happen overnight, but that's the pathway, is to lead people along professionalism. It is education, it is being compliant, but professionalism ultimately rests in your behaviour. How you take the base knowledge, the base law, and apply it to clients so that you're relevant to them, doing a great job by them, and always putting them at the forefront of your decision making.